Good evening, everyone. I'll say my name again. I'm Andre Bearfield. I'm a product manager who owns managed databases at DigitalOcean. I'm very, very happy to be here. First time in Portugal, having a great time. How about you guys? Doing all right? Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about managed databases. We had some releases this year. Kind of talk a little bit about what that means for our business, what that could mean for you guys, and then give a little bit of insight into where we think we're going with the product as well. But before we get there, let's start from the beginning. Everybody in here knows what a droplet is, right? Raise your hand if you've launched a droplet. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Cool. So, droplet is a rock-solid VM platform that is very simple to use, that has incredible price for performance, price to performance ratio. And we think it's an easy way for developers, startups to get started building their applications. But DigitalOcean is committed to becoming the definitive cloud for startups and developers. So our intent is to continue to move up the stack to offer more value and make it simpler to do even more complex things on our platform. And we start, one of the things that we worked on this year is databases. Who knows what a database is? I'm just kidding. Databases are often the most critical component of an application. I guess crown jewels is a good way to think of it, right? It is the stuff that you need to save. You need to keep it. While a Kubernetes node, for example, can go offline, and another one can come back up, and that is totally fine. If your database goes down, it is not totally fine. So, databases. Databases are, while critical, very, very simple to get started with, right? As I mentioned, droplet is awesome and it's easy. And you can launch a droplet in a few seconds, and you can install a database engine in a couple seconds too. And actually, we have DigitalOcean Marketplace that offers a wide array of other database technologies and a slew of other options that make even removing the step of installing the database engine. So installation is simple, but it's what happens day two that is not simple. So with all infrastructure, and specifically given the context of this talk, lifecycle management is where managing infrastructure and running your application gets complex, right? So some of these things sound familiar because both DigitalOcean's managed databases and DOKS are both upstack products that try to automate and remove the challenge from managing infrastructure from folks that want to focus on building applications. So when a security patch comes in, or when an upgrade to a database engine comes, while it's not necessarily the most complex thing to solve, oftentimes it's one of the things that does not get prioritized by a business who isn't interested in running a database technology actually. They just want to toss their data to an endpoint and retrieve it from an endpoint to serve their end users. Also, another thing that can be challenging is what happens when your 15 users becomes 15,000 users, or becomes 100,000 users, or 1 million. How do you quickly solve the problem of making sure that your database technology or your data tier can support all of that activity and all the additional data? It can become complex. Not to mention reliability. So obviously the crown jewels need to be secure. You need to have confidence that you know where they are. And if something were to go wrong, if somebody does an insert somewhere on your team and you want to roll that back, how are you going to do it? And actually, items like reliable, like backup and restore, are like building entire other. It's a unique application, right? You have to solve that problem. And then if and when, hopefully, right, your application requires maximum uptime, meaning you cannot handle a failure. Failures will occur. Every machine, I'm sure all you guys know, Your iPhone will crash, your laptop will crash, servers will crash as well. So when uptime needs to be maximized, you need some sort of high availability solution to make sure that you can rely on the fact that your database is available. And that, again, is another application separate from maybe the application you're building. So I think the key question here is, especially for startups, especially for individuals, where do you want to develop expertise? Do you want to be the best database backup application for some other service? Do you want to have the coolest high availability and failover technology that you built actually to serve a database that provides another application? I guess the key question here is being a DBA, is having those sorts of services that you made on your own, is that a differentiator for your business? And I think if the question is no, especially for startups, especially for individual developers, you have to focus, you have to make sure that you place your investments in the area that delivers the most value to your customers and to your business. And probably it's not being great at managing your own database. So when we talk to our customers, this is what we learned. Most developers and startups want to set it and forget it solution so that they can rest easy with confidence that their data is secure and available. So if you don't need to build your own solution for databases, it makes sense to simply utilize a service that takes care of those issues for you, which is why we built managed databases. So managed databases solve the problems that we have described, talked about so far. Get started fast and easy, and then more importantly, scale easy. Scale when you need to scale without worrying about downtime, without figuring out a solution. Don't worry about, at the beginning, what is the right infrastructure exactly when you start. Why worry about that? Start small and scale when you need to, without any issues or worries. Managed databases is secure, encrypted by default, both in transit and at rest. Worry-free updates, so you can reserve a window where updates get installed. You can also install updates on demand. This is handled by actually another database cluster being created and updated, and then the DNS simply being repointed to the new service to make sure that there's minimal impact to your running services. Durable backups with point-in-time restore. This is limited today to 7 days, but that means that you know your data is secure, and not only can you restore from a backup, you can pick any point in time, any transaction in that time period to roll back your data or create a new service based on that for development purposes, for example. Managed databases is highly available. It's optional, so you have to determine whether or not you need that high availability functionality. You can have a single node, you can have 2 nodes or 3 node clusters, so that if an issue occurs, then one of the slaves will naturally be promoted and your service will continue to run. Your data will continue to be available. And then finally, you have deep insight into what's happening with your database, both on the host level and as well on the database level. So you understand the trends, how things are moving, and have a good insight about when a change might need to be made. Okay, so in 2019, we delivered that functionality as described for MySQL, for Postgres, and for Redis. Naturally, these are the most used database technologies among the DO user base. I hope that is something you guys have heard of before. Anybody heard of Redis? Or I'm just kidding. Okay. And we've had some customers already provide really, really solid feedback. This is not all the feedback, but some pretty good stuff here. So Nibble Technologies is an organization that support users by developing web applications for them. And they're saying DigitalOcean managed databases have been a game changer. They've done a fantastic job at removing the complexity of setting up, tuning, and securing databases for production use. And then we have another customer for You Are My Guide. You Are My Guide is an organization that uses AI to enable their users to learn more about their customers' end users so they can market to them more intelligently. And they said, with managed databases for Postgres, we can scale up our business with Postgres and timescale DB extension in a glance. No need to worry about availability or anything. We can move our business forward. Pretty good so far. But we're not totally there. We got some things that we want to do to make it even easier for you guys to engage with the product, for you to take usage and offload that need to manage these challenging areas that probably are not central to the value of your business or the target function of your application. So one thing is online data migration tools. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to move the database you have running in a droplet or on RDS. We want to make it super easy for you guys to be able to move that data without any downtime, and at least to test, but probably, more than test. We're going to be bringing some higher performance options to the table early in the year. You guys might know that we offer standard droplet, but in 2019 we also released the general purpose droplet, which is dedicated CPU with a 4:1 ratio between RAM and CPU. We also released memory optimized droplets this year, which is also dedicated CPU with an 8:1 ratio RAM to CPU, which for high performance database or applications generally may be a better fit. And then right now, managed databases uses local SSD storage, is very, very quick, but some users have higher storage needs overall, and so we want to enable scalable storage on demand for managed databases, which could also make it simpler to enable functions like auto-scale down the road. And then finally, on-demand snapshots. I mentioned earlier that we back up your data. We offer point-in-time restore activity, but we currently don't allow you to take your own snapshots of those backups. And what we're hearing from our users is that it's really important for them to know exactly where their backups are, and maybe they want to download those backups for development and test, and maybe they just want to have their backups, their data backups in a data center that they own or some place that they consider safe. Okay, so DOKS, managed databases. These are Upstack products, and Upstack products are technologies that empower developers and startups by allowing them to offload DevOps overhead so that they can focus on the applications that make them unique. So it is the thing you should consider if you are trying to find a DBA, or if you're concerned at all about investing in solving problems that have been solved 100 times before. We're offering these services to you so that you can focus on the thing that actually makes you unique. That's it. Before Q&A, I just want to let you guys know we are doing office hours Wednesday and Thursday. Phil also has office hours. You probably can't click this link on this screen, but my partner Amanda Gaynor this week in the back can help get you scheduled for a one-on-one session if you guys want to do that, if you guys want to see a demo, etc. So, thank you.